Hi, I am DJ Scruggs with Blue Spruce Holdings, and today we're going to talk about the wonderful and exciting world of private placement memorandums. Okay, so maybe it's not that exciting, but these are very important documents that go into every deal. And even experienced investors sometimes don't really understand all the pieces of the puzzle. Even if you've invested a lot in public markets and you've done some fix and flips or wholesaling of your own, syndications are a whole different ball of wax. So I'm just going to walk you through the components of a private placement so that you're better informed when you're making investment decisions. So let's start here. The first part, this is the kind of thing you'll usually receive by email. Sometimes people mail them through snail mail. This is the private placement memorandum. And this explains what the offering is in terms of dollars and cents. So this will explain how much money we're raising, how many units that are. A unit is typically $1,000. So let's say you're raising $1 million and you have a minimum investment of $50,000, that's purchasing 50 units. So that's what you would find in the private placement memorandum. And it explains the risks associated with this. So if you've ever invested in an IPO in the stock market, you'd get something similar, except it'll probably be this thick. There's a lot more involved there. But it explains, who the management team is, what the risks associated with the property, with the market, with this type of security are. Those are the kinds of things that you should be aware of when you're investing in a syndication. Now, the next part of it is the limited partnership, or sometimes the LLC Operating Agreement. So this is the actual company that is purchasing the property. And this explains all the liabilities and obligations and expectations of the manager of the company, who the managers are, what your rights and duties are underneath the agreement. And basically it just spells out who is this entity that is purchasing this property. The next thing you'll get is typically an Articles of Incorporation, or in this case a Certificate of Limited Partnership. And this is just informational only. This just proves this company does exist. They are legally registered in the state where they're doing business. And that way there's no worry about funny business of someone setting up a fake company. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. Everything I've talked about so far is information. This is where you get involved. This is a subscription booklet, or sometimes called a subscription agreement. And this is a sometimes very lengthy questionnaire where you spell out how much you're investing, that is, how many units you're purchasing. And it provides information like, who are you? What's your name? What's your phone number? What's your address? And then in some cases, you may have to fill out what's called a bad actor questionnaire. If you're acquiring more than 20% of the property, you need to certify that you've not been subject to action by the SEC, you haven't been disbarred, that kind of thing. The other thing too is sometimes if you're investing as an entity as opposed to a personal, so instead of writing a personal check, you have a company that's making an investment, you have to fill out additional certifications around that. If you are a foreign investor, so if you're from Canada or some other destination, you'll have to fill out the supplemental questionnaire for foreign investors. And so this is where it's kind of like the bad actor questionnaire. We just want to make sure you are who you say you are. You have to provide a passport and other information. If you're investing as a company from overseas, you have to provide a local registration for that. Typical kind of things you would expect for a complex transaction. The last part that you need to be concerned about is the wire transfer information. As syndicators, that's our favorite part. So this tells you basically where to send your check to, or if you're wiring money, where to wire the money to. We typically include it inside the email itself, but it may be as an attachment, but that's obviously critical information if you decide you want to invest. And then the last piece is not something you'll receive initially, but after you invest. So every syndicator, when they receive your funds, they're required to fill out an acceptance form. And this basically just acknowledges, yes, we received your information, we received your funds, we have the check number or the wire transfer number on it. We validate that you are purchasing the number of units you think you're purchasing, and we send this back to you. And this is basically your receipt that proves that you've invested in the company and have all the rights that accrue to that. So I hope this helps. I found that for me, private placements, legal is my least favorite part of business, and so it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I hope this has helped give you a little more ammunition in your investment toolbox.